city officials, managers that have dual positions, managers and attorneys, public works and managers. So I believe Henrietta is capable at this time. I mean, and the council should be grateful that she's pulling her weight at this time. Like I said, whenever it comes to a time that we have an emergency, then we'll address that issue. But for right now,
Okay.
thank you, Madam.
Thank you. I want to say that I am in agreement with Councilman Jimenez about the USDA project accountant. I think even though I'm just not comfortable with, as much as we're dealing with the USDA, that we're going to do away with that position. Councilman Jimenez?
But you saying that, one talking about Henrietta, I think that USDA position,
Microphone, please.
I believe with the USDA position, you leave it and get her to assist you on other projects that you've got. She's a very
Position.
the position.
So we can have that position do other things besides USB, is what you suggest?
Yes, and keep it. Well, you name it whatever you want to USDA /
Okay. Any other,
I
Councilman?
was going to say that I'm leery about that too, getting rid of USDA. But
That's the finance thing, right? No?
just rename it, USDA /
Okay.
assistant.
Okay, so just so that I can make sure I got my notes right, we're going to go with 2 full-time clerks for the municipal judge. One of the things that the council voted is the USDA. And then we have added a full-time person in parks that deals with here, that works out of the event center kind of parks. And we can get some kind of idea in reference to outsourcing contracts for the cemetery. In defense of the Parks Department, I just need to let you know that they clean those bathrooms at every park, especially the Common Park. That's one of our every day. And so that takes a lot of time to clean all the bathrooms. And then we have bathrooms here that they clean as well. So they are chasing the rabbit, trying to keep ahead. So they work really, really hard. It's just hard always trying to cycle that. But I can see we can get at least 2 or 3 to be able to maintain that differently. Okay, I'll get some numbers for you.
on what?
On the mayor's suggestion with getting some quotes or some bids or something for contractors to look at the cemetery.
Ms. Turner, and also for the event center, are we going to hire an assistant or a part-time worker to help Mr. Perez?
Mr. Pettis.
Chas?
Oh, sorry. That was, I haven't made note of that. That was one of the things that we discussed early in the year, and you all deferred it till now. And so if you all think about that he will be by himself. Because right now, he depends heavily on our HR person because they share the same office. But come September, everybody's going back to City Hall. So he literally will be here with the janitor alone. And so as he has to go out and do different things, there is no one here to answer the phone or return phone calls or even meet people. And so that is something that we can discuss at this time.
Is it mandatory that HR goes back or
Well,
to
yes.
City Hall?
Yes.
No, I'm just saying they can't hold the office here.
Because what ends up happening is every time somebody comes to apply or staff comes to take care of anything or payroll, they got to come way out here now. They're probably tired of tracking way back out here. It is quite a track. So yes, I need to get everybody under one group. It'll be a lot easier for me as well.
On code compliance, can we get some help from the city officers? Especially, there was a council member, I can recall, who was saying that there's some things that need to be addressed.
I do have to say that at one point in time when we were having some things with the 8-liners, the police department has reassigned that. And we had a police officer helping us out with code. Police department has always given us backup if we have a problem, we need to close something down, or we have an issue. But those assignments to the police officer by contract can only be given by the chief of police, not by me.
My thing is like, if you could have a meeting with the chief on that, and fix.
That's some direction.
Well, currently our code enforcement officer went to training, and so hopefully he'll pass so that he can write tickets, because right now he can't
Okay.
write a ticket. And so the police department has been writing tickets for us as we need, like dog issues and, somebody doesn't have running water or whatever, we've been
On
sending
homes and
tickets.
vehicles, more things and,
Yes, but we-
beautify the city.
I can speak to the chief about that. Now, we
Councilmember.
met with, I think I see the attorney in reference to impounding vehicles and those kind of things. It's a whole process we have to do, and the police have to run that process.
That's all.
You said code compliance officer, is it a code compliance person that went to the class to write the tickets, or was it an officer?
Well, before we had a physical police officer
But-
that was doing it, so he could write tickets. Now we have a person who's a code compliance person. He's gone to the proper training. He has to take a test, and once he passes the test, he himself can write the tickets. It doesn't have to be a police officer.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
So do I make a comment or a note in reference to part-time or staff here at the event center? I just need to know so I can make.
Well, if you're
Is that
gonna
a suggestion?
keep the USDA person, if you're gonna pick up extra work, you're not gonna be busy. What's the front office supervisor versus one of the utility clerks? Maybe get them transferred here if you're gonna be keeping her. Will she have an office up front?
USDA, as the position is right now, she assists at the front, but only fill in and some minor thing, but every day, day to day, the item balance, those kind of things go to the front office supervisor.
Then if we're not gonna have that much USDA stuff, would one of the utility clerks be able to come out and help the event center, have a rotating shift where they can work 2 days out here and 3 days in there or something?
Well, that's something that we can think about when I look at assignments. We would do that to maybe give some additional duties to the USDA accountant and rename it, and then we can see what additional duties we can give. I'd have to get back to you on that one.
A lot of work to do. Okay, any other comments?
So do I make note to see about a part-time person here, or we're just gonna look at that? I'll
You
do
can get
both.
some numbers?
I'll give you some numbers, we can do both of those, roughly.
Yeah, do both. and see
Yes,
which
and
one
we'll
is
see
like
what
that.
comes back. Okay, community development, I believe is almost the last one. And we have goals and objectives for the community development. Now, this one does have a revenue stream to it. However, please be mindful, building permits, it fluctuates going out back and forth. I believe that is on page 24 is the budget itself. Revenue is on page 11. And so as you look at community development, permits have been pretty good. I mean, we've been pretty steady. But like again, it depends on, we don't get a corner store all the time, so that's flexible. We've looked at those fees. I'm not recommending that we change anything for those fees. Basically, I think building fees run about $100 for a resident, depending on the value. I'm going from my memory, so Mindy, step if I'm doing it wrong. But anything $10,000 or less typically is about a $100 permit fee for the average resident. Anything at $10,000 or more, then it's based on the value of that construction. 15,000 or more, I'm sorry. So it's 15,000 or less, it's $100. So if you're building a garage, most garages are not valued at $15,000. It's a $100 permit fee. And so we do have a registration for contractors, which is a once a year kind of thing. And in this budget, we also have consultants that help us, so like Chris Stewart, who's coming to talk to you on Thursday. That's in this budget because it has to do with planning and zoning. She staffs planning and zoning. And we have a new board of adjustments. That's a new committee that we discovered that we needed to have. And so I'm not making any changes to this budget. It's been pretty good, but I'm saying I just want to let you know that on page 24 is the actual budget. On revenue is on page 11. Basically, we get enough revenue to pay salaries because those things you're going to have to do. Planning, zoning, you're going to have to do. And so this community development is where we take care of most of our things. Now, some of the things that we're planning on doing in this budget coming up is a CCN, which talks about our area certificate of convenience and necessity means what we serve. We need to update that. It has not been updated in some time. And so, for example, the wonderful Riverbend that was on our agenda last year is not officially in our CCN, even though it is in our city. And so it's just a matter of we need to update it. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be doing. The annexation that will be ending in 2019, monitoring the variances, those kind of things, plan review. We've had a lot of exceptions because there's always going to be subject to rule for a septic tank. I know you all have seen those, and variances have come back and forth over time. So that comes out of this budget. But I'm not making any changes or adding an additional staff in this area.
On the bottom, why do we have 164,000 in the deficit?
Because at the beginning of the budget session, the first workshop, I let you know that when it came to general fund, I was not able to balance that budget because I couldn't take away any more than I already have. If I take away and then I don't leave anything for functioning, for the city to function. So we need to look at that instead of increase expenses. We either need to decrease them a little bit or go ahead and increase revenues so that way we can balance that fund.
Yes, so that number is for the whole general fund, not just for this department.
And that's budget numbers.
It's for the whole 301 fund. It's not just for this department. But that was a really good question, Councilman.
But two questions. When you did the contract building inspection, 16 it was 78, 17 it was 75, and you're guessing that 17, 18 is going to be 90. Are we heading to hit 90, or are we going to still stay close to 75 to 80?
It depends on how many inspections they have. These contract building inspection services is what we pay the company that comes and looks at the work that they have done. It's inspections, and that they go according to the permit.
The more inspections we have, the more revenue that we have. Okay.
Yes.
And the more revenue and the more expenses.
And so what we've done in the past is that it's not just a pass-through. The council has agreed to add an additional administrative fee of 20%. So if we're invoiced, we charge 20% more to go out to cover our administrative fees and
Okay.
costs.
The other thing is your Wilson County Health Inspection. The actual were 16, 17 was 6,400, and you got it to 20,000, 20,000. Are we going to be having more health inspections? Why it's jumped that high?
Well, we've had some new establishments. Now, the county does our health inspections. So they go out and they inspect them. We have a contract with the county to do so. They have to do so many. They don't, the really nice thing about it is that we have to pay them to do, they guarantee they do several, but if we have a place that has some particular issues, they'll go out 15 times. It doesn't charge us anymore. It's so flat rate. But we've had some new establishments.
But we didn't, from our actual in 16, 17 of 6,400, and you budgeted 20,000 and never hit it. Are you thinking the 5 new restaurants that we put in the town is going to jump it up 14,000?
They also inspect all the festivals.
Yes.
So the more vendors we have, the more food trucks we have come in, they also do inspections for those.
So you think it's going to jump up 14,000?
Yes, for like the last time, we just had an event here for our 2-day inspection for our Freedom Fest. They have to inspect anything food. As the Freedom Festival has grown, we have to have someone to inspect
And
the
we're
food.
charging permit fees for that, so that's generating.
Yes, the vendor has to pay, and then we reimburse the county. What is the split?
80/20.
80/20. So
80/20.
the county gets 80 and we get 20%.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Talking about funds, when are we going to get a notice from the Wilson County Appraisal District?
Okay?
The budget,
The tax rate,
Right. The revenues.
from John.
oh, okay, last week, they just asked me for all the information in regards to the debt for them to calculate the rate, and I sent it, I think Friday. I sent it to them, so now I'm waiting for them to go ahead and do the calculations. It should be, usually is the last week of July.
We received it last year, we looked it up on like July 23rd or 21st or 23rd. And so then we'll have those, we have two hearings, one on the tax rate and one on the budget in August. So as soon as we get those, we'll put it in the paper and we'll let you know what the rates are. But we need to hear back from Dawn. I'm sorry, what's her last name? Dawn Arnett. I'm sorry? Burnett.
So you have that goal of 1 million, 1.2, in order to get.
My goal, that the auditors have set for us is 1.5 million, and my goal was to do that in a 3-year period. I can't do that in 1 year. So the goal is to get the fund balance over a 3-year period of time. That is the goal.
Before I end this, I just want to make a comment that the city, it's like a business. If your business does not work out, you will go bankrupt. We have learned by mistakes, by some errors that council has done. So hopefully we'll learn this coming year that we'll take care of the taxpayers' funds, because we have some issues that will affect city employees, our customers, and so on. So we must be very careful with the taxpayers' funds. Thank you.
Okay.
Last but not least, we have the financial department. Okay, and so here's a mission statement. A lot of goals and objectives, of course, a lot of them align with what we have to go forward with the audit request and the audit numbers and training. And so those are the financial goals and objectives. But the last page talks about salaries. And so I'm just trying to give you an overview, recap of salaries, okay? So this is done by general fund, by funds, okay? And so in my proposed budget, I didn't recommend anything. I'm recommending for you all to talk about somewhere between 1% to 2%. And we do an average of 2%. Not that we're gonna give it up, but it's an average of 2%. And you can see the increase of what it happened. So if you look at the general administration, municipal court, the police department, 1% this year, streets, the swimming pool, the public development department, water fund, wastewater fund, and the civic center fund. Now remember, this excludes whatever we talked about tonight, so this is what we already have currently. The total needed amount to fund the increase would be approximately $53,054. And so as we go back and to look at those and we come back to that magic number of 164, we have to be able to decrease that. But that's what that is. If we do, based on merit, a 1% to 2%, you can tell me a different number and we'll go back and calculate that. But what I said earlier was a 1% to 2%, what that would work out generally across the board, just on salaries, increase of about $53,054.
And this only includes salaries. It doesn't include overtime or any increases on the insurance or life insurance or anything that, any benefits that the employees have. That is separate, calculated separate.
Yes, and we'll have some of those insurance numbers when Mr. Talley is able to get back to us as we look at those. So that is something that we're going to be able to give to you, or what it would look like. If you have any comments and you want anything different, we can bring it back when we have our the next handbook kind of workshop. But if you just look at a basic 2%, again, not everybody would get 2%. It'd be 1 to 2, 0 to 2 if you want to. That's what it would calculate out to be. Okay.
But it would be 2% for everybody?
No, ma'am. It would be 0 to 2% based on their performance evaluation. The supervisors all have their performance evaluations. We normally do it June, July. And so I'll have those results sometime in August. And it's based on their performance. It's not across the board, because if we do across the board, that means the police department gets an additional whatever percentage you all do across the board. So it's based on performance evaluations.
So the police department is not going to get a 2%?
Police department will get 1% in the first year
And
of the
then-
contract, and then they go to 4.
4 is from what as proposed in the CBA?
As proposed in the CBA, yes.
And we go 2 and 2?
It's a 3-year.
It's a 3-year contract.
Contract.
What they
Oh, it's a 3-year.
proposed is a 1, 4, and 4, and 4.
Four is a lot.
We fought, they wanted to do 5, and I said no. That is a CBA. If you would care to evergreen, which means they're frozen, what are they?
3 years.
What are they? If you decide to evergreen, which means you just hold it and say hold off, and we still need to negotiate, then they're frozen in time, and whatever they have right now, they'll have going forward. But that's not what we negotiated. We talked about a 1%, a 4, and a 4. Is that
No
correct?
matter what you do, if you go evergreen, you're gonna get a 3%, 3%, 3%. So over 3 years, they get 9%. So if you go 1, 4, 4, they still get 9%. So, this is some of the little benefits that you pay in extra for, what detective made, don't hold, Mr. Ortiz would know more, detective maybe went up $25. That part will stay at 100. The bicycle guy, if it was so much, you wouldn't get the rates. That's the only thing that we're gonna
Yes.
hold.
But, and some of the things that we took out, such as the 600-hour cap, taking out paying for the membership, that would, if you go evergreen, that won't be, they still get to go what they did going
So,
forward.
it works.
It worked out about the same. The other thing that I fought hard for was no 5% at the end. They wanted to end at 5% on that 3rd year, and I said no, because if you do 5% of that 3rd year, then they start at 5 the next time it comes up, and I just couldn't. And I would come, so we held them at 4%.
That's a lot.
Mr. Neeson, I wanted to tell you that the lawnmower that you were saying that, you know, the person that, if we hire that person, that they have a lawnmower, well, they could keep it because the person that Ms. Turner's gonna hire, it's, there, you know, if they get to the park, they'll get to the park. If not, you know, the park's gonna, you know, the baseball, I'm talking about the baseball fields.
If they hire a person,
If they,
what you
if,
said totally confused me.
if we hire a person for the park, he's not gonna be, he's gonna be working for the whole park.
Right.
And he's gonna start on this end or that end. You know, if they're having tournaments or whatever they're having at the baseball field over there, and he doesn't have time to fix the fields, I mean, he's not gonna have time.
But the whole idea is to make the fields playable, and technically, we don't have the liability insurance to have the baseball crews go out there and cut the baseball fields. That's what the city's gonna have to do. So we either have the city get him a lawnmower to cut the field to maintain it for baseball play, or we have the Little League cut it, but then we're at big liability risk if they get hurt or hurt something. So he will have to have some type of equipment. The benefit is we do contract out the cemetery. We will have that lawnmower to bring over.
Mr. Neeson, the baseball field has always maintained their park,
But
always.
Baseball people.
The baseball people have always done it.
Now, if I may, Mayor, just to say that one of the concepts when we did this wonderful park is that ultimately hoping to rent it out to other people, to have tournaments and things such as that. And I always thought, I was under the impression that our goal was to, for the first 2 years especially, is to have it to be maintained, because it's a different type of maintenance for that kind of field than what we have just for the general park. And I've learned about cross-contamination from lawnmowers recently. I had a gentleman in here who does Baylor and some other places that's going to give us a bid to do that. It was always my idea that the council's direction was to say, for the first 2 years, I need some heavy-duty maintenance to get that under control, to get it looking pristine, as a young man said to me, to make it pop. And so we need 2 years of that, and then teach our staff, whomever it may be, to come back and say, okay, after 2 years and we've got it growing, you've got a good seed in the tail, then to train our guys. So that ultimately, it would be our responsibility and I don't have to keep going out. However, there's always going to be kind of like they have to come in and seed and come in and do some things to prep the ground, you know, to open season and to close season. And the Little League, I can envision them doing, they love to do their chalk lines and those kind of things and to rake that wonderful dirt. So those kind of things that they can do, but we will have to have someone come prep the fields for when we have a competition. It's not the Little League to do that. And so I am proposing to bring to you sometime in August several different proposals of what we can do, the specs to do that. I've been walking out in the field. I couldn't walk yesterday because it was way too hot to walk that young man out there, but we met and he walked out there and he's going to be giving us proposals. Well, there's three. I'm going to bring you three and then we can see what we can come up with.
I said the cross contamination that you're talking about is that if they're cutting out here where the sticker burns and you go cut over there, well, now you contaminated your fields.
Yes.
So whatever equipment they're going to use over here has got to be right there.
Exclusive for this area. And then there's all different types. They have the one that cuts the grass like scissors, he said, that if you go one way, then it gives a different color pattern. I don't think we're at that point yet, but it needs to be a different kind of lawnmower than what they do.
Well, you get two lawnmowers for baseball. You got the infield lawnmower and you got the outfield lawnmower. There's always been two, because one goes smaller than the other. My question is, anybody ever get a pesticide 2 license to be able to do pesticides out there yet?
No, sir, we have no one on site.
So,
You have to outsource that.
No, well, we need to get somebody licensed. to do
I have
that.
spoken to the gentleman, we're looking into getting them doing, but currently we do not have anybody that's licensed.
so we do the host city contract?
No, we need everything, the whole city.
No, I mean, the question is, we have no roadside pesticide #1 license or nothing?
No.
No. Well, we're going to do anything for mosquitoes, and I think Councilman Jimenez mentioned that we actually outsource that to Mr. Lopez is our distributor that we use.
No, I want somebody to get a license.
Yes, sir.
Wait, yeah, I remember saying.
Okay. Typically, most of our certificates we have right now is $1 an hour increase for any certificates that we receive. Mayor, that's the end of my report.
Okay. Any questions? I know we got some homework to do as a council, and we're getting
Can I
homework.
remind council, I have your packets here
Henrietta,
for the Thursday meeting.
Okay, don't forget your packets for Thursday night. So if there are no other comments, I will close this meeting at 8 p.m. exactly. Thanks so much for this workshop. We will see you here at 6 p.m. on Thursday.